Okay, let's do a little Tokyo test. This is the idea that no matter where you go or where you're going, you won't be alone. There will be people everywhere. So I'm on the Itsukaishi line. It's a little before noon, I think, on a Saturday. And this is a pretty small line, really far in western Tokyo, and it only runs 5 or 6 stops. And I'm going deeper in. I'm at Akigawa, and I'm going to Musashi Itsukaishi, I think it's called. I'll double check when I get there. But everybody is on the other platform because that's the direction that goes into Tokyo proper. On my side of the platform, there's a few people way at the end of the platform, but they're all just really old folk. At my end, there's nobody. And I want to see, it's like, well, I can't do podcasting while I'm on the train. I shan't do it. I will not be the guy who's talking on the train. But if there's ever going to be a train car with nobody on it except me, this is the one, man. This is the time. So let's see. So the reason I'm going on this adventure today is I stayed here in Akiruno in 2019 and I loved it. And now that I'm back, I love it again. It is just mountainous, mountains all around, just beautiful. I don't know what that is saying. Something is constantly beeping and announcing a thing over and over. Anyway, I walked along this line because I was here for a while, at least 3 weeks. So I walked to every stop on this train line, except the final one. But I figured, I've seen it. I've seen this neighborhood. Good neighborhood. I like it. But to get on the train and travel to the final stop, seemed like a slightly strange thing to do because I'd seen literally everything else. It wasn't until my last day, the next day I was shipping out, that me and my friend Brad went to Hosawa Falls, where you have to go to the end of this train line, then get on a bus, go up through a big, beautiful mountainous area that's fucking awesome. See a waterfall, that's okay. Waterfall's not a take your breath away waterfall, but not a bad waterfall. But I realized as we were traveling along on the train why I had never stumbled upon the final station even when walking, even if I walked all day and walked quite far, because it's a lot further than the second to last station, and it curves through these mountains. And even just the ride there, I was looking out the window and I was like, whoa. I knew that things got pretty beautiful around here because as I walked, I did have a couple of times where I sort of stumbled into the beginning of the mountains, into the foothills enough that I'd climb up onto a ridge and just see mountains ahead of me. And it's that feeling that you never get in Tokyo. You never get to the end. You never get to the edge, And here, if you walk most directions, it's the same way. It just continues on forever. But if you go to specific places, it is yeah, shit, those are just mountains. I'm in literal mountaineering mode now. I don't know how far that goes. Where does that end? So the final line, it does go through those types of mountains to get there. And then it was this whole extra little neighborhood. And I don't really know what's there because all I did was go to a 7-Eleven and grab a coffee and just plunk her down and wait for Brad. It's a good landmark. Hey, I'm at the 7-Eleven. That's right across the street from the station. And I don't know if there's anything there. I mean, there might not be. It might just be just a neighborhood with houses and stuff. I haven't really checked a map yet. What I'm going to do first, what is that? That is really weird. I've never been on a subway station where it's just constantly ringing a bell and saying stuff. That's strange. But yeah, since last time I pretty much just got on the bus and escaped, this time I'm just going to walk around that neighborhood because it seems so weird that I found it on my final day. And it's damn, the one day I do not have time to go explore this, The next day I had to get up at the crack of dawn and travel all the way from Akigawa to Narita Airport, which took literally all day. I noticed that though on the way out here as well, that when I took the trip from Shinjuku to Tachikawa to Haijima to here, I was just at the right time of day. There was a lot of students and stuff that I was hitting express trains, and it actually wasn't that bad. I went all the way across Tokyo with no real trouble. So I was thinking, like, is it true that, you know, if you check how long it takes to get from here to Narita, it'll tell you like 6 hours? And I'm like, that certainly did not take 6 hours. I mean, I was only traveling half the distance, but it was like much faster than that. But then I realized, oh, it's the express thing. If you're going against the grain, if you leave Akigawa in the morning going to Narita, yeah, you got to stop at every stop. It's literally like 100 stops. And yeah, that does take 6 hours. So in this case, because I am heading to Narita just so I can take a quick flight to Fukuoka, I got a place in the middle. I got a place in Chiba for a few days. Because it's really not bad. I mean, I don't mind traveling for 6 hours across Tokyo. I'll do it. But it's fine if you're heading to an Airbnb. So it doesn't matter if you get there late. But I got to get to a flight that leaves at like 1 in the afternoon. You know, that's stressful. That's where I'd have to get up at the crack of dawn, and I don't want to do that. That's, I don't want to risk that I don't make it. So yeah, I'm going to have a little place in Chiba that's like 40 minutes from the airport. And I get to explore Chiba because I've never been there. Anyway, that's the preamble. But because, this station has got the weird ringing bell that won't stop. And yeah, since it's the weekend, these trains do not run often. It could be a while before my subway gets here. There's the one on the other side. I finished the whole preamble of what I'm doing this episode, so I don't even need to record obnoxiously on the subway train. But I suspect it wasn't going to work anyway. I really don't think I'm going to get a subway car all to myself, but I guess we'll see. I'll let you know. So it was the very height of hubris for me to even to think that there's a possibility that that train could be empty-ish. Because it's also, a lot of times I find when I'm traveling, I'm like constantly relearning very simple, easy stuff that I just forget. In this case, it's very simple transit logic, but it's like, yeah, sure, my station was empty as hell, because mine's the middle one. Mine's the middle station of 6. Like, I can't remember what it's called now, but there's this one station in Toronto that's famous for being the shittest station, just the station that nobody goes to. But it's because it's kind of in the outskirts a bit. And it's still a pretty busy line because everybody's going to the end of the line, because the end of the line is where all the connections are and where you catch buses and you go deeper into Ontario. But if you're just some random ass station in the middle, yeah, of course nobody's getting out there. Nobody gives a sweet fuck about that station unless you happen to live there. Or there's a weird case in Vancouver where they made a train that goes to the airport, which is very handy, but it doesn't just go straight to the airport. It has stops, you know, because they're like, hey, why not? We got the train. It's got to stop places. But the little island that the airport is on, you can get off the train there, but literally nobody does except the people who live there. So in that case, if you get off the train at one of those stops, you got to pay extra, kind of significantly extra, because you're paying the, hey, your neighborhood has its own SkyTrain tax. You don't deserve to have this. There's no reason why you have this. So if you're going to use it, you're going to pay, motherfucker. But yeah, this is very busy. I suppose the weekend might even make it more busy because this is probably the time to come do scenic-y shit. There's even the dreaded other white people that I see here. They're stumbling around. They don't seem to know what they're doing. But I was wondering too if my memory would hold up, because sometimes it doesn't quite. Like I was saying how amazing it was at my building at the taxi cab dispatch, how much I loved in the morning walking out. I thought I was on the second floor, but actually when I went to examine, I was actually on the third floor, so an even better view. But I went up the stairs and just went to the balcony, and I was like, I'm only going to do this once, because why am I here? If someone does come out of one of these apartments, I can't explain why I'm standing here. I'm not in one of these apartments. But I went up once just to simulate the experience. What was it like in the morning to step out of my door and stand on this balcony? And it wasn't as good as I remembered. There is the field that I described last episode when I was standing at the 7-Eleven. I mean, it is a beautiful field with all cool greenhouses and stuff, but there's a big building in the way, and like half of the view is obscured, and it wasn't nearly as good as it was in my memory. This one, though, I was thinking that same thing as we were leaving the station. I was like, was I exaggerating in my mind how beautiful this last stretch of this train is? And not at all. It is fucking gorgeous. If you happen to come, maybe you've listened to these podcasts and you're like, when I go to Japan, I'm going to go to random ass Akiruno that I never would have went to because that fucking podcast guy couldn't stop talking about it. If you do happen to do that, it's worth coming to the end of this train line. I mean, who knows what else I'll find as I wander around. But it's literally worth just coming here just to see the view as you come in. You go across a bridge and you look down into this valley where this town is, and there's just greenery and trees all over the place, and it is so gorgeous. It's insane. Like, I mean, I don't know how it would ever happen that I would ever live in Japan because of my total inability to speak the language, or my huge distaste for bureaucracy. I can't even imagine jumping through the hoops. It just wouldn't happen. Maybe if I was the richest man in the world and I could just, I don't know, throw money at the problem and let someone else sort it out. But even that would seem kind of unnecessary. Even if I was the richest man in the world, I could still come visit once in a while. There's no need to just be here forever. But anyway, this would be the neighborhood. This would be where I would want to live, because this is like the same feeling as in North Vancouver. There's these amazing mansions that are like built into the cliffside. But there's also a bus that goes by. So you're just in like the most beautiful scenic place. But if you need to get into Vancouver, you can. There's a bus that still goes by, all through the day. So this is similar. This place is so gorgeous and so beautiful and just such a nice, it's like a quaint little town surrounded by all these woods and stuff. And then you could take buses and go further out into the mountains and all this great shit. And there's a major train line here that connects into everything. You can, if you want, come sit on this and end up in Shinjuku. So it's just everything. It's perfect. I was like, this is incredible. I love this. Even if I just walk around today and see nothing, it's worth it already just to see that. And on top of that, lowbrow theater. I was going to go to the 7-Eleven for lunch, but there's a New Days here. And New Days is mostly the same as all the other convenience stores, but they're a lot easier to find. Tachikawa and west of there, I've found. You can pretty much always find one once you hit Tachikawa. And there's just a couple little things, like they have this blueberry cheesecake pastry thing that is not at every store, but it's so delicious. I went to Hajime Station yesterday. I don't know, it did help decide when I was coming back from Spider Mountain. I could have just walked. But I was like, I'm going to take the train because I know I can get that blueberry cheesecake pastry thing at the New Days in Hajime Station. So I took the train literally just for that. But they also have, I'm hoping they have them here, they have these bigger sushi rolls where it's like a sandwich. It's basically not a sushi roll. It's like an onigiri, but it's like flat. You can make them at home too. It's like a really easy way to make these, where you've got the nori, the seaweed, and you've got the rice just flat as a square, and you put the fillings on, and instead of wrapping it into a ball, you just fold it over like a sandwich. And I've only ever seen them convenience store wise at New Days. I looked it up one time. Apparently it is like an old timey, it's like how they used to make them in the 60s and it's becoming a bit more popular again. So yeah, I'm excited about that too. I'm gonna go to New Days and see what this New Days has in store for me. Eat my convenience store lunch. And then I'm going to start wandering around. And I got some stuff to ramble about, whether I see anything interesting or not. But just in many directions, there's trees, at the very least. To me, that's interesting. That's good enough. So it's all right. I'm off to get lunch. All right, there's kind of a lot of traffic up by the station because that's obviously the center point of stuff, but I just hopped down some stairs into the valley, and within minutes I'm by a nice little river with some various people doing stuff along the banks. But haven't done one of these in a while, let's do a Listen to Me Eat segment, because I got some stuff. I got minced tuna with wasabi onigiri, but I might save that for a bit because that one is not so weird. This one, Hokkaido seaweed. I like nori, I like seaweed, which is a little surprising because I have a Dutch uncle. When I was a kid, he was always trying to feed me dulse, and I didn't like dulse. Dulse is like, maybe I just didn't have fresh dulse, but to me it was very spongy, and it's got these little, like pustules, these little bubbles, and it's weird. But he also tried to feed me black licorice, which I didn't like. And nowadays, I love black licorice. I think it's awesome. So maybe I do like dulse. Maybe I just was too young. Nori is very different. But, it's usually just the wrapping. Hokkaido seaweed as the main dish, as the main center. I kind of suspect I don't think I'm going to really like this. But I just want to try it because it's like, what is this? What the heck? So let's try that first. Hokkaido seaweed onigiri. Did I ever describe this packaging, by the way? It's so neat. I think I might have, but I found it tricky at first, but it is numbered, and it has a little diagram where you pull the number 1 tab at the top of the triangle of the onigiri, and that separates the wrapping into 2 remaining parts, and then you have to kind of shimmy each of those off. But the way it's wrapped, the seaweed and the rice are separate, because if the seaweed gets too moist, that's not a bad thing, but it turns different. Instead of being a little crunchy, it becomes more of that sort of sticky, hard to tear, dulcey sort of thing. And if it's dry, it's just like it's almost like a really thin little cracker. You can eat it like a little snack. Or like rice paper, I guess. So this, you kind of get both, it only touches the rice just before you eat it, so it gets a little bit damp, and you get the best of both worlds, and it's really cool. But I do remember the first couple of times I tried to eat one of these, it was a disaster. I couldn't even unwrap the thing. I kind of wrecked it. All right, Hokkaido seaweed, let's give this a shot. It's really cloudy today, by the way. Super overcast, but not raining. Pretty windy. Yesterday I had a point where after I left Spider Mountain, as the sun was going down, I had a little moment where it's like, I feel like I don't have enough layers. I kind of want to pull my arms into my coat sleeves. Pull my arms out of my sleeves and into my coat. But I didn't have to do that. But I had the thought. So that's when I realized, okay, waiting for the weather to have it, it's got it. It's got the ability to battle now. So today I'm wearing my rain-resistant jacket, but also a thermal shirt. And I was thinking, I hope it's not, if it gets super warm, thermal shirts are a pain because trying to pull them on and off, especially if you wear glasses and you have headphones in and stuff, it's a pain in the butt. But so far it's serving me well. The chill of fall is finally settling in. I guess it's just the lack of sun is really the difference maker. This isn't bad. It's kind of indistinct though. I'm just not really sure what it tastes like. It kind of tastes like I think they just put some sugar in here because it seems just kind of generically pretty tasty. I apologize if my mouth starts sounding kind of sticky during this segment, because as I eat more and more of this stuff, it seems inevitable. But yeah, I don't know, I don't have strong feelings about that. It definitely wasn't bad, so I guess that's good. But it also wasn't very distinct, so I don't know if I would get it again. I've been thinking I should start exploring plum more, because I got sour plum candies the other day, and they were they make the top of your head explode. They were so sour. Plum is a good example of kind of a weird flavor. It's not necessarily pleasant, but it really stands out, So I was like, let's explore plum a little. But Hokkaido seaweed, I'm not sure. Not bad, but just a thing. So let's get a little more min-max. Let's get a little more all in or all out. They have the aisle of miscellaneous super Asian fish stuff, and this is one I did not see at any of the major convenience stores. It's just squid tentacles with the suckers on them. Soft, sweet, and vinegared squid. So, I mean, I like the dried, shredded squid parts, the shreds. So let's try one that is more squiddy and vinegared. I mean, I like vinegar too, so this one seems pretty weird, but I'm a bit confident that I might like it. This is also the largest package, so I think my other garbage will go into this to become at least one piece of garbage rather than a million, and I'll just keep it in my back pocket until I can figure out somewhere to throw it away. Oh God, it looks so awful. It looks like a Guar music video. It's a little tray, and there's the squids. I mean, that's squid tentacles. See, this is the kind of thing where I had my plans for how I could trick my dad into eating Japanese food if I had ever gotten the opportunity. You know, stuff like beef or chicken teriyaki rolls that don't even involve fish. Like that would have got his foot in the door. I think that would have worked. But this would have been hilarious just to put it down in front of him. And I think I could have convinced him to eat. Well, I guess the thing, I think if it was me and my dad alone, he wouldn't eat it. But if I presented him something like this in front of his friends, he would eat one. All right, let's try this. God, it really just looks crazy. It's like I'm eating Squidward. Squidward's arms. So initially you do get the vinegar. Helps it get it into your mouth because it's on your tongue and you just taste vinegar. So it's like, oh, that's okay. And then the squid aftertaste, which I'm not sure how I feel about squid. I mean, I do like it. But it's not like, I mean, I got a little thing like this the other day, 7-Eleven, that was vinegared tuna, just it's like a little square of vinegared tuna on rice. And that was super delicious, you know. Tuna, salmon, so delicious. Squid, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't dislike it, but I don't like crave it. I am just more eating it just because it's like, when else am I going to have easy access? It's like I just want to try things while I'm here. But I don't think I'm going to miss squid. So it's kind of right in the middle. Whereas eel, maybe I need to try eel again. But every once in a while I would upgrade one of my, you know, like Vancouver has pretty legit sushi. And you always had to pay extra for eel. And every time I tried it, I always wished I hadn't, you know, because I liked the just California rolls better. So I think I don't like eel, but I do need to try it again. I very much like tuna and salmon, you know, because I'm a basic bitch. Squid, I don't know, squid. I'm on the fence about squid, but I don't hate it, so that's good. Okay, we'll save that. I'm gonna do this in waves, like 2 mini meals. So I had the rice ball and some squid. Now I'll have a dessert. Then I'll go back, have the other rice ball, finish the squid, and a second dessert. But I'm not sure how I should proceed here. So I got the blueberry. It's called unbaked cheese blueberry. They did have it, and it's so fucking good. It's just like a little crepe with a little square of cheesecake stuff inside and blueberry sauce. Fucking delicious. Then they had a chocolate banana one, which I've had those before. They're pretty good. There was tiramisu I was going to try just because I'd never had that kind. But I was thinking how, I don't know, I just don't really like tiramisu all that much in real life and normal tiramisu. So instead I just got custard cream. However, this is the one. I think I'll just try this now. This was a last second while I was just waiting to pay for my stuff purchase. And it's a Snickers. And that seems absurd, right? Like, why would you come to Japan and buy a Snickers? What a waste of time, you know? But I got a reason. First off, I do think it's okay to just experiment with the very lowest of brows. Like, I've never gone to Burger King or Wendy's or McDonald's here, but I wouldn't be against it just to see. I bet there's something different about it, you know, and who knows? I have not, and I probably won't, but I wouldn't hold it against you, because like I do think in some ways it's, instead of just getting like squid, it's kind of neat to just go with the stuff that's nearer what you know and see what the differences are. Like for instance, me and my friend Brad, we went to Denny's in Akihabara, and he like took a picture of the Denny's and posted it on social media somewhere, just as like a joke kind of like, finally I get, came all the way to Japan and I get to go to Denny's, So, just hey, look how lowbrow we are. We're going to Denny's. But the reality is turns out Denny's is radically different in Japan. It was like a legitimately worthwhile thing to go to Denny's, because whatever you're imagining, your moon's over my hammy and shit, they ain't got that shit. They got all these like rice dishes and stuff and a little all-you-can-drink juice bar thing, and it's different enough that if you go to Denny's every day, I might ask what the hell you're doing. But to go to Denny's once, I'm glad I went. It's neat to know how Denny's is different. Because even that was kind of interesting, because we were right in Akihabara. That place was full of white people. And it was funny to look at the other tables and see people, big fat Americans. Sorry to be offensive, but it's true. Those people I saw earlier today, they're definitely Americans. I say during my fucking eating segment. You have a problem with food, America. You have a serious problem with it. You need to calm the fuck down. You're drowning yourself in food. Fucking stop it. Anyway, it was funny to watch those people peering at the Denny's menu, and it's like they don't have their glasses on. They're pulling it back like, this isn't Denny's. How am I supposed to eat here? What is all this stuff? It's funny. So anyway, Snickers. I think in North America, Snickers is a pretty good bar. It's, it's pretty decent. But what I was really shocked by, in my lowbrow way, is I was in Amsterdam, and it's like, yeah, I'm going to get stroopwafel, and I'm going to get all the other stuff whose names I can't think of now, the breaded, deep-fried kip stuff. Croquet? What was it called? Anyway, the licorice and stuff. I had all the stuff. I had all the Dutch stuff. But in Central Station, there was a chocolate bar machine, and I grabbed a Snickers, and it tasted different. Like, noticeably, significantly different. And I think better. Both versions are good, but I just really like the Amsterdam version, the European version of Snickers. And then when I went back, I got some Snickers again, and I was like, yeah, no question about it, it's better. So when I saw this Snickers, I was like, well, I have to find out what kind of Snickers is this. I mean, the wrapper looks different. It's really shiny. It's the basic Snickers logo, but it's like super duper. This looks brand new. It's not, I don't know, it looks like our wrappers are like worn out. This one is like shiny and awesome. But is this going to be a North American Snickers experience, a European Snickers experience, or a unique Japanese Snickers experience? Fuck it. Race to the bottom with me. Let's find out. And I also like sometimes to eat Snickers as though it's two things, like the nougaty bottom part and the peanut upper part. So I'm going to try that first. I'm going to eat the bottom part and an upper part, then both parts together for proper science. This is feeling North American to me. Let's try the top half. And the top half doesn't taste like either. It first gave me a little bit of the European feeling, but then the taste of the peanuts is not the same as either country. It's a little different. Let's try the whole thing together. Yeah, now that it's settling in, it's the North American style Snickers, definitely. I don't really know how to describe it. I don't know how to say what the difference is or what it is about the European one that tastes different, but it's definitely different. It's got a weird aftertaste, where this just has the aftertaste of sugar. It's okay. We'll save the other half of you for later. Alright, I'm just going to eat this minced tuna with wasabi and finish off the squid and save all of my junk food until later. Got to get some hiking in, get some walking in. Battle back a little against these calories. Remember that guy, he still does stuff. Review of the week. He guy on YouTube who just reviews fast food. And in a way, I mean, it's kind of funny. He's like dressed in a suit and he talks to these from the 1920s and he's very proper, but he's just describing fast food. But I just realized, like with that Snickers thing, yeah, you can totally do that. You know, if anything, our palates in North America, we're extremely trained to do that type of thing. Like that wasn't guesswork. It wasn't like, oh, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure how I feel about squid. I'm very sure how I feel about Snickers. It's like, oh, this is North American style Snickers. There's no fucking question about it. It's just kind of funny. It's like, yeah, that's what we were born to do, baby. Mint tuna and wasabi is good. But I do think, as far as these rice balls go, tuna mayo, the basic one, is just the best one. Kind of like how I still think for maki rolls, like a California roll is still my favorite one. For actual sushi and sashimi, tuna and salmon are my favorite ones. Like the basic ones, they're just so good. It's nice to switch it up sometimes, but even this, it's still tuna and it's good. But tuna mayo is still my favorite. But anyway, there's the eating report. I guess since I'm down here by the river, I'm just gonna keep walking along the river, see what happens. Seems like a good place to start things out. Oh yeah, I also got a coffee. What is this brand called? Because yeah, this is one, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, that. UCC Beans and Roasters Cafe Latte. Relaxing sweetness and silky milk. It's sort of in a tall can. I got it hot, but it's getting a little cool now. But the reason this stood out is the first time I visited, the way this time it was trying to find crab soup. You know, like I like to find a rare item and then keep my eye open for it in the machines. In the summer of 2019, Beans and Roasters Cafe Latte had a banana flavor and a strawberry flavor, and they were both very hard to find. And the banana one was okay, and the strawberry one was amazing. So they were my thing, that every time I saw them, I was like, yeah, cool, I found the thing. And it only happened a few times. So now they just have normal cafe latte. They don't have any of the cool flavors, but it's still the same brand. So I'm like, oh, sweet, I'll buy that. All right, I'm gonna get walking and we'll tune in later when either something happens to me or if nothing happens to me, I'm gonna ramble a bit about some continuation thoughts from yesterday's adventures on Spider Mountain. All right, here's one of my classic ill-advised podcasting moves. I'm walking up the side of a mountain. There's these cool little steps built into the mountain where it's like two pegs of like tree branch things, like but bigger than a branch, like a small tree trunk. Two pegs of tree trunks and then the log laid out across it and then dirt packed in to make steps. And this is one of the steepest mountains I've ever walked up that just has steps in it, but hopefully it's not too much bigger. It doesn't seem extremely huge, but I had to stop halfway up because I'm like, oh fuck, I'm dying here. But yeah, I was walking around and I'm like, this is nice just walking around this neighborhood. But I wasn't really sure where I was going or what I was doing, so I thought, you know, if I'm just gonna walk at random, what if I did try to walk back toward Akigawa Station? So I pulled out my map and it's like, this seems probably ill-advised. There's literally only one major route and it's like a highway. Oh, although Ajiro Castle ruins are on it. So maybe, I might see what that's all about. It's almost 2:30. I got a couple hours of sunlight, which is not enough. But then I saw on the map, Komine Park. So I'm like, oh, all right, that's pretty close. And I'm walking around anyway, so let's go there. And so far, this place is very fucking nice. It's like this nice mix of, you know, it's very natural like this. Like all these little paths I've been walking down are all very naturey. But at the same time, there's like a visitor center at the bottom and midway through a little guest house place. So it's got, you know, it's still got drink machines. It's still got visitor centers and washrooms. And it's just fucking gorgeous because we're into the mountains now, and every time, you know, you can peek out through the vegetation, you can just see for millions of miles. There's little tour buses that bring little groups. They seem to be older people. They're mostly hanging out down at the bottom. having some kind of a little picnic. They're not heading up into the mountains. Okay, it's leveled out, swerved around. Oh, there we go. Back up, back up. So far, I mean, this is already totally worked. I got to take the cool train ride. I got to go to New Days and buy a bunch of fun crap to eat. And I wandered accidentally into a beautiful park. But yeah, this is extra good because central Tokyo is I think why it's the capital, if I understand right, is because it's flat. That's why it has developed so well, because Japan is extremely mountainous, and apparently for long distance driving and stuff, highway tolls and things are supposed to be terrible because it's so expensive to go around or through mountains and stuff. So I think Tokyo is good because it's flat. But not flat is much more interesting to walk around. So this is cool. I'm into a bunch of really cool parks. But this one, man, yeah, I am like, it is severe how steep this is, and just like heading up. I mean, it's not like a Dutch staircase, but it's this is unusual. Usually these slopes are a lot more gentle. Oh, here we go, though. It's balancing out again. Get a very distinct Indiana Jones feeling. Like I'm just going through the jungle. So yeah, that's something I wanted to bring up. So yesterday I was on Spider Mountain. And I was saying how those spiders do remind me of old Sega Master System games. You know, a lot of the animals in video games I played as a kid, because those games came from Japan, now I'm recognizing. I was like, oh yeah, those are the animals. I gotta take another break here. But I was getting pretty freaked out by the sheer number of spiders on that mountain. It was like frightening. And one of the things that was in my mind a little, just knowing nothing and being so ignorant of anything about spiders, and these spiders in particular, is I was thinking like, okay, so if all the games I played as a kid had spider enemies and they look a lot like these spiders, another thing that many spiders do in video games is they drop. They fall from the trees onto you. And that was definitely in my mind as well when I decided to bail out and stop trying to make my way through that mountain. But I looked it up when I got home, so if anyone's curious, those spiders, it's the Joro spider, Joro spider. And my mind was calmed considerably just by doing a little research. It reminds me of after hiking through a bunch of mountains in Fukuoka. It wasn't until afterward, after I ran into a couple of boars and things, that it occurred to me, maybe I should be concerned about bears, because there's a YouTube channel, Go North Japan, where he talks often about how to protect yourself against bears while hiking. And I was like, man, am I just wandering into the woods completely unprepared like a stupid fuck? But in that case, I was glad to learn. Bears are only in northern Japan. In Kyushu, I believe is the name of that southern island that Fukuoka's on. There are no bears in Kyushu, it's too warm. So similarly here, there are 50,000 different types of spiders in Japan. And there's only one dangerous one, the classic black widow, which is pretty easy to identify because it's black, kind of circular, with red markings on its back. And they're still pretty rare, but they are around, so that's something to be aware of. But the other 50,000 types are fine. Oh, fuck, it's still going up. Another rest. I'm just gonna have to stop at each of these plateaus. Oh, I guess this could go up pretty far because I'm looking ahead of me through the trees and there's like power lines, the big super industrial power line towers, and there's a mountain much higher than that. So if this mountain is comparable, no wonder the old folk are staying at the bottom. I did pass some people, like a family I think, that were coming down the mountain with their dog. But yeah, these other spiders are not dangerous, so it's just like I was saying back home in Canada, I always like spiders. I'm glad to have them around, because anything a spider is eating is something that I would prefer. I'd prefer to have the spider than the thing that it's getting rid of. Spiders are good. So these ones too, they're beautiful. They're so pretty. They're black and yellow mostly, with some green and some red. The Joro spider, give it a look. It looks awesome. And now I know I don't have to be scared of them. I think I still would have bailed out of that mountain because there were just too many of them everywhere. The webs were just in the way. It was getting unpleasant to navigate. But at least that little back of my brain thing of like, am I just really doing something dangerous? You know, at least now I know I was not. Apparently too, it's amazing how things can spread in the world. I believe I read that the black widows, they think, came to Japan from Australia on ships. And similarly, these Joro spiders in the last 10 years or so have started appearing in America. And again, probably on ships, but they don't know. They don't quite know where they are and how far they've spread or what effect they're having on the ecosystem. It seems okay so far because they've only been around 10 years and it's just hard to gauge these things. You know, we take for granted all the stuff that scientists have figured out already, but the process of finding out is very slow and gradual and lacking in actual information. But speaking of spiders falling from the sky, apparently these Joro spiders do in fact make little nets. They make little parachutes out of webs if, you know, there's like a flood happening or crazy storm or something they need to escape from, and they sail down from the sky. So the video game fear of a spider dropping down onto the back of my neck, probably not going to happen, but it could. But that's cool. That's the spider update, because if you only listen to last episode, it is, it's like reefer madness of spiders. Be scared of spiders. Oh no, spiders. It wasn't that bad, but I was definitely wigged out. The spiders are giving me the wig. So that's the nature news appropriate to walking through nature. But even though I'm walking through nature, let's talk about the opposite. Let's talk about tech news, where, again, this is the kind of thing that on the surface, is really boring. I kind of set off on this podcast deliberately, not attempting necessarily to be like entertaining. I just want to kind of chronicle what it's like to go on a little solo trip. So I think stuff like just what you're carrying on you, I find interesting because it's so limited. You got your bag, you got the stuff in the bag, every little item is important, and you need to think it through. So to me, this stuff's interesting. But I think objectively it's not. I'm just going to ramble to you about a tiny cord. But that's what I'm here to do. Still going up. Oh, I remember the glory days when I used to, the really deep subways in Montreal, and I'd run up the stairs on purpose as exercise. Now that I have a bad knee, I remember the day. It was in Toronto. There's this really cool, in eastern Toronto, this really cool pathway. It's like a valley, like a gorge that goes down under a bunch of big overpasses. And it's quite a nice walk. You can start around Warden Station or so and head west from there. And I remember there's some steps there, and I ran up and down them for no reason, just for exercise. And then I went to Montreal right after that. And for like the next week, my knee was so messed up. I had a hard time walking up and down stairs. So now it's like I wear a knee brace and I'm just careful with it. I have I'm sure it's all tied into my scoliosis and the tilt in my pelvis. It's like an 8-degree tilt. And my left leg, which is the one with the bad knee, if I stand naturally, my right leg, my foot points forward, but my left leg is at a 45-degree angle. I don't know why, it just naturally does that. So I've muscle memory, trained myself to walk with both legs straight. But to me, it feels like I'm duck-footed, like I'm forcing my left foot inward. That's how it feels. But the result is that it's just straight, and it does help a lot. It helps my knee not hurt. But man, all this stuff, it's just like whenever I see athletes that are perfectly symmetrical, I'm just so jealous, because it's only the tiniest little thing, the tiniest little tilt in your pelvis that leads to a weirdness in your hip, that leads to a dip in your shoulder that leads to a little curve in your back. And as you get older, all this shit just fucks you in the face. So there'll be no running up these is what I'm saying. As long as I'm careful, it's okay, but same reason why I can't really do push-ups and pull-ups anymore, because it just hurts my shoulder. Because I don't know, I find explosive exercise so much more fun. It's so much more fun to do push-ups, do pull-ups, do squats, carry a big weight. It's so much more satisfying, but I can't do that anymore because I just get injured. I have to do boring yoga type stuff, and I just don't have the mind for it. I just can't commit to it because it's so low impact and so boring. So I guess I get a happy middle with all this walking I do, and I just try to be mindful at least while I'm doing this, that I'm helping and not hurting my poor body. So anyway, there's the old man body update. So one of the things, if you've listened to all of these, God bless you, but one of my things is I bought an electric razor, like a shaver, so I could buzz my hair, because I only just ever want to I just get my hair buzzed all the way off. Just go into a barber, give me your shortest setting, buzz it off please, that's all. Used to cost $10, I've noticed around here it's up to 12 or 13 now. But even that, just that everything in Japan when you don't speak the language is shockingly difficult. So even just that was hard to do. Oh, here's a branch where I could go back down, but the hiking trail arrow points further up. Let's go. So I bought this wireless shaver thing because it was like hair clippers, because they were on sale at Walmart, and they're wireless, and I thought it would be worth it to put that in my bag, even though space is at a premium. Because the one stupid thing I brought last time I traveled around the earth is I brought an Xbox controller that I could just plug into my computer in case I wanted to play a game on Steam, and I never did. I went literally around the earth and I never used it once. So I was like, all right, I'm losing the controller, I'll replace it with hair clippers. That seems worth it. And then I got to Montreal and I went to use the thing and I didn't have the cord, the recharge cord. I just could not believe it. What an idiot. How did I forget that? But I thought I'd hang on to them in case I could find a replacement cord. I'm sure I could very easily get one off eBay. But since I'm moving around all the time, I don't have a permanent enough address to do that. Meanwhile, in Montreal, I got like a really good pair of hair clippers. Big, heavy metal ones for $12 at a thrift store. But the plug-in ones had the dual problem of having to plug them in. Difficult to do. It's a lot easier to just go in the shower and buzz your hair while you're crouched in a tub so you can easily clean up the hair. But if you got to plug stuff in, that's a lot harder to do. And just heavier, like a lot heavier. This thing is a big hunk of metal. But the path is flattened out now, and on the other side is a steep drop down into a tree-covered ravine that would no doubt lead to grievous injury. This is kind of a sneak peek of what I'm going to do in Fukuoka. I intend to spend a lot more time on the mountain in Fukuoka than I do in the city. And it's quite a bit like this. So one nice thing about missing the cord with this thing is it gave me a little opportunity to do something I never got to do in Japan, which is just to buy something. Like I can't really buy anything besides just food because I can't do anything with it. I don't have room for it. So there's this chain called Hard Off, which is a funny name. Book Off is the used bookstore. Hard Off is just the goods. And there's one near Akigawa Station that I went into before, and I walked around and I looked at all the stuff. Okay, let's see. Mount Imakuma, Imakuma, and Kotokuji Temple, Kotokuji, are ahead of me, but also Sawado Bridge, Sawado, and Kongo Falls, Kongo. There's no distances. But I think instead of whatever those castle ruins are, I just won't have time. It's 2:45. It's going to get dark rapidly around here. Don't have time today, but I wonder how far Congo Falls are. If I could make it to that would be, I mean, this is all ready. Like I said, I already did it. I already feel like today was a great success of finding a cool new thing. But if I can get to some falls, are you kidding? That's fucking sweet. And I guess if not, I'll come back here earlier in the day because it's so easy to get to from Akigawa Station. And maybe I'll check out those castle ruins some other day. I'm still here for a few more days. But yeah, I thought now I can go to Hardoff and actually buy something, potentially. There's a thing I actually need. So I had a little picture of my buzzers. I didn't bring them with me. Maybe I should have, but I knew the shape of the cord connector. And I did find just, Hardoff has everything. It's got CDs, it's got musical instruments, video games, work equipment. I mean, it just has everything. Upstairs, it's more collectibles like anime figures and trading card games and stuff. At this one, it's not like they're all like that, but that's how this one was laid out. Oh, ahead of me, it's going up a little more. I guess you gotta go up, right, for a waterfall. Gotta be something for this shit to fall off of. Man, it's so cool being on a mountain ridge. Now at this point, either side, looking down. I'm really scared of heights. I don't even like crossing bridges. I just walked across one of the bridges last night on the way off Spider Mountain, just across the Tama River, and it was like freaking me out a little. I don't like heights at all. But this doesn't bother me because it's not a direct cliff. Like I do think if I rolled down this thing, there's a huge chance I would break my elbow or my ankle or something. But I wouldn't die. I'd just get really, really hurt. So this is fine. This is not scary. But if it gets steeper, if it hits the point of plummeting, yeah, then all of a sudden I start getting that rubbery legged vertigo feeling. So I found not just a tub of cords, a bunch of tubs of cords. It's the tubs of cords part of the store, which is exactly what I was hoping to find. And I found whatever this type of cord is called, where you plug it into the wall and the other end is just like two holes. And I was looking at the picture I'd taken of my stupid clippers. Oh, fuck me. This is so long. Look how high up that goes. What the shit? I mean, now that I know there's a goddamn waterfall, I can't stop, but that's the worst one yet. This is fucking terrifying. I'm gonna be blown up. Which is the wrestling way to say winded. I really shouldn't be talking while I do this, but fuck it. I mean, this is literally the most boring story in the world about a power cord that I bought. So at least maybe this will make it a little more interesting. So yeah, I had the picture of what the connector looked like on my razor, but I couldn't quite tell the size of it relative to these. But basically, as I looked through the box, there was one shape that came up over and over and over. It was clearly kind of the shape these are supposed to be, the standard. And they just had a ton of those. And it looked like it would fit if it was the right size. Spoiler, it wasn't. It was too big. But I thought that's where I would just leave it up to the fates of the company. It was Philips who made this fucking razor. Did they use a nice standardized piece that everyone else is using to make it nice and convenient to replace? Or did they make a proprietary dickhead fucking cord that doesn't fit with normal shit and you have to get the special cord, you know? I was like, well, we'll just see. We'll leave it up to Philips now. Because it seems obvious, this one type of cord I can totally find. The specific Philips one is not the common one. But that thing, it was only $3. So I bought it. When I got home, I tested it. It didn't work. So yeah, fuck it. Fuck that thing. That mission failed. Whew. Okay. I have one more stupid Hardoff story. But I'll wait till I get to the top because this is getting silly. I also have a can of coffee in my pocket. Gonna break it out to fuel me up here. Fuel me up to the end. I think I can see the top, but... Oh. Fuck my dick, man. This is crazy. Well, unfortunately, this is not going to happen today. I'm in a whole other can of worms now. And again, it's only 3 o'clock. If this was summertime and if I had until, 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night before it got dark, I would absolutely keep going. But at 3 o'clock, really, an hour from now, it's going to start getting noticeably dim. And when it gets dark in here, all my previous talk about scary darkness, that would be nothing compared to this. This is the legit woods. There's no lights, This would make anything else I did that was creepy at night during this trip seem like a fucking kids party. But you might hear a hum in the distance. That's the TEPCO Shintama substation, TEPCO SHINTAMA substation. And along with all just the beauty of the nature around here, this thing is also, in its own way, it's like a marvel to see. It's this power station that is so fucking big, just crazy huge. Oh man, I'm getting so tempted. It's like, so there's me, there's the substation. No, I can't, because the falls are not even just on the other side of the substation. Then there's a path, and then there's a river whose name is not on here anywhere that I can see. And you have to go further to the falls, and the path that it's showing on the map, the hiking path, doesn't even go to the falls, so I don't even know how it works. So yeah, there's no fucking way. There's no fucking way. I have to go back. I have no choice. Because when I got to the top of those devil stairs, speaking of, I should say the reason I'm stopping here at the substation is I'm at more devil stairs. They're super steep. These ones go down. And it's almost worse going down because going up is tiring, but quite safe. And that other one had a handrail. These ones have no handrail, and going down is a lot dicier. Going down a mountain, even with steps hewn into it, that's where you could fall and really hurt yourself. It's a lot tougher to go down, ironically. But then once you get down there, I can see the path continuing on. Fuck, it's like, looks so great. I'd love to go, but I can't. It's gonna be dark. But yeah, I got to the top of those other devil stairs and I was like, all right, give me a waterfall, hook me up. When of course you can hear waterfalls from very far away. So obviously it's not here. But the path started sloping downward again and going down. And it's like, hey, dude, I just went up all those steps. It's like you're stealing my work. You're stealing my hard work by making me go back down. Don't take me down, take me to the top. Take me up to a waterfall. But then I saw a little sign and it was a map of that park. And I was at the very corner of the map. Basically, it was saying, hey, that's it, dude. That is the end of this fucking park. Now you're into a whole other thing. Now you're just into the woods. And then the next little sign was way zoomed out, way expanded to just show the whole area. And serious distances. Here's the new landmarks, and they're all very far away. You're not in a park anymore where buses bring old folk and there's a nice washroom. Everything is extremely well marked and all these paths clearly get used a lot and there's signs everywhere, and I would have no worry at all about hiking on these paths. It's just that the daytime is going away. I do wonder, there's a little fork here. I think it's just either way. Yeah, I think this is the main way around. That one I was at was just an alternate route around the substation. But yeah, then I zoomed out on the map and zoomed out on the map and zoomed out on the map, and it's like, okay, yeah, there's Congo Falls. They're not close. This is not. But then, man, this just goes on and on. Like, this is so great. This is how I was saying before, I had to take a bus to go to Hasawa Falls. And then from there you can hike around and stuff. But looks like you don't have to. You can easily just go to the station, Musashi Itsukashi Station. And then it's not that far of a walk to Komine Park. And then from the edge of Komine Park, you're in the system. You're in the local trail system. And yeah, it's the kind of thing I would love to explore more. But it's going to be tough because, yeah, I would really have to get up fucking early. And I mean, today I didn't leave the house until nearing noon. But it's just because of the trains and everything. I was just trying to get some sleep. I felt so fucked up when I woke up. I was like, just please try to get some more sleep. You know, it's 9:30 in the morning. You should be, that seems like plenty of sleep, but it's not because of the trains going by. Realistically, I don't know how early in the morning I can get up and not just be a zombie because the trains don't stop rumbling by till after midnight. So, I mean, it's not like I can go to bed early. If I could go to bed at 8 p.m., that'd be awesome. And then come here in the morning and actually, I mean, I don't know how many of these hikes I could get to. As you zoom out, there's more and more and more stuff to go to. But I could get to those falls for sure. I'm sure it takes longer than I expect. I would want a solid 4 more hours from this moment of daytime before I would try it. But I mean, we'll see. I'll be here for a bit, maybe. This is definitely the front runner of stuff I want to do in this neighborhood now. Because I went back to Akiruno because, you know, I wanted to relive my old adventures, but I think I've done that pretty successfully. I took a nice chunk out of the nostalgia fucking cheese wheel. Nice big bite of nostalgia. Oh, look at that, there's some people, actual people behind me. Coming back. Yeah, so this is the time, exactly. The time to come back from all of this. So we'll see. Maybe I'll be able to make it out of here. But there's still one more thing to see. If I go back to the park and just continue along the edge of the park, there's a ridge that has a name, which I don't recall. But I bet that's pretty cool, so I'm going to go do that. And I'm going to step aside and let these people pass me. All right, the ridge is called the Sakura Ridge, which something tells me it's not the only Sakura Ridge in Japan. It's like I'm making it up, like, I don't know, Sakura Ridge, why not? But there's also something called Observatory Square, so I got to assume that's pretty cool. So I think this will be a fine completion of the adventure. This is fine. Just assume this is the adventure, because I did think this was going to be the adventure. I didn't know about Congo Falls and all this stuff. And this is generally how exploring goes, is you don't make it the first time. The first time is a reconnaissance mission, just to learn that this stuff even exists. You know, I just came to the station and was like, I don't know, just gonna walk around and see what happens. So now I've got my recon. I got the intelligence. I know what's going on around here. Next time, I can try again. Because yeah, I remember in Fukuoka, in Fukuoka I was really kind of forging my own path, almost, not really. I mean, there were paths there, but nothing official, nothing signposted, nothing really touristy. It took me a couple of days just to figure out how to get into the mountains. It's like they're right there. It's like incredibly hard. And then all the different paths through the mountains and routes and stuff. This one's a lot easier than that. And yeah, maybe, I don't know, I just wonder if I force myself to get up really early just so I can make this, will I just be goddamn miserable? You know, I don't function well. I have a hard time seeing the joy in life when I'm dead tired. So I don't know, I'm really feeling, this is the first time I'm feeling a little trapped by the time of year. I loved walking around the city and having it get dark at 5 o'clock. It's cool. It's like, wow, I get to see the nighttime version of Tokyo without staying up all night. Win-win. But when you're coming out into the woods, it's fucking awful. It's a real downside. It was funny too, those two guys that just passed me on the path, that brought back a little Fukuoka memory of, well, even just at the bottom here with the old folks that were having their little picnic, I definitely don't mind being ignored. It's actually one of the things I kind of like about Japan, that I can just walk around like a ghost and no one pays attention to me and they almost actively act like I'm not there. And I don't mind. I'm just the guy who's, like, I've read many things about people who try to move here, Westerners who try to become part of Japan and how frustrating they find it. Because no matter how long they're here, even if they live here and they have property here and they can speak the language and they have a job, they're citizens even, they just never get treated like Japanese people, or people kind of act like they're not there or don't speak to them in Japanese and all this stuff. And I'm sure that is frustrating, but I also think it's an odd thing to try to do. You know, it just seems like an odd desire in your life to be Japanese if you're not Japanese. If you want to move to America and be American and take part in the great American dream, like, that's what America's for. That's what America wants people to do. That's their whole culture. Where it seems extremely evident that that is not at all what Japan is interested in having anybody do. You know, I guess with like declining birth rates and stuff, they're more and more interested in people moving here. But that doesn't mean they're interested in everybody being Japanese or being considered Japanese. And I think that's like an interesting thing about the Western mindset, is we kind of think of that like, oh, it's like okay, it'll be tough. It'll be an uphill battle. It's like I'm swimming upstream. It's going to be difficult, but we still expect to win. You know, we expect in the end, like, hey, I've spent 10 years every day of my life trying to be Japanese and I'm not. They won't treat me like I'm Japanese. It's like, yeah, because you don't get to win at this. This is way bigger than whatever your weird little personal desires are. This is some ingrained shit, dude. You know? So that is fine with me. I like to be ignored. You know, it's one of the things I actually kind of find a little comfortable about coming to Japan and just walking around, and why I haven't really tried to learn the language, and I'm mildly embarrassed when I can't talk to anyone, but it's like I'm kind of okay, because I think that is my place here. My place is to be a tourist, to be a total tourist. I'm really just here to walk around and soak it in. But it is a little weird. So in the city, when everybody ignores me, that's cool. If anything, it's like, I think I've said it before, but it's a little almost strange when I see another foreigner and I do the same thing. I just kind of don't acknowledge them because everyone's just not acknowledging each other. So it feels a little weird for me to just like, hey, I'm just going to acknowledge you, cowboy, because you look like me. But then once in a while, somebody else who's visiting does try to give me the standard little hello nod that we would all normally do, but I'm not doing it. You know, it's just a little awkward. Not quite sure how to maneuver all that. But then times when there's really nobody around, like here at this park with all the old people down at the bottom who are having their picnic, I walked past them like I was invisible, you know, and just, it was a little weird. It's a little weird not to just do at least just a little nod, a nice little hello. But again, I was like, hey, whatever, this is what I signed up for. I can't be all right with it all the other times and then suddenly have a problem with it. It just feels a little weird. But then those guys on this path, that reminded me, because this exact thing happened in Fukuoka, but in Fukuoka it was like 5 or 6 people. I had forgotten all about this. This is where it becomes like a cartoon to ignore somebody. It's like so affected. It's so weird feeling and just like such a phony thing to do. You can't pretend you didn't see somebody when you're on a fucking mountain path and no one else is around. You just can't. That's like bad comedy. That's a silly thing to do. But these guys did it. It wasn't until I said, hey, hello, that then they look over and it's like, oh, hello, whoa, konnichiwa. It's like, you fucking saw me. You saw me fucking, come on. What are we doing here? You know? So they'd be like, you know, I'm down with how you guys act, Japan. I'm down with it. It's fine. Ignore everybody. It probably makes things easier when you have a culture this crowded and this full of people. But just don't act like you don't see people when you're the only people for miles around. It's just a weird thing to do. Like, just come on. You know, there's a happy middle. There's a point when, here's a fork in the road with Japanese signs. Okay, I'm gonna go a little bit down this fork away from the park, but not too far, because I think it's the wrong way. Oh, walked into a spider web. Okay, so yeah, this is the wrong way. Obviously those two guys did not go this way. Still gonna go a little further though. But yeah, no, I think affected is the word I'm looking for. This affectation of pretending you don't see people. Oh, now there's a fallen tree. Okay, wrong way. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it without being insulting. Let me just be insulting for a moment. It's dumb. It makes you look dumb. It's like, stop acting so dumb, dude. Just stop it. Fuck off. Well, if you don't like it, why don't you just go on home? That's what an American would say if I criticize them in this way. I'm sure Japanese people just don't give a fuck. All right, more signs I can't read. I'll take the upper one, the high road and the low road. Let's go up. All right, this is definitely the outlook. Oh, shit. Yeah, I can see the whole fucking city. That's fucking worth it. That's good. This might be better than the falls. Observatory Square in Komine Park. Oh, that's interesting. That passageway that I slightly went down, it has an X by it and it's listed as not passable. That, it is definitely passable. There was a path there, it was just one that nobody uses obviously anymore. That sounds like there's my North American coming out. It's like, that sounds like a fucking challenge. What do you mean not passable? Again, if I had more sunlight, I would go a little further just to see what it's like down there. Because then it's got another, so highest point in the park is where I took the turn to Congo Falls, went up those horrible stairs. Oh, they're listed as steep stairs. You're not fucking kidding. And there's another not passable. Damn, that makes me so curious. Man, it's right over there. What time is it anyway? It's 20 to 4. I'm just gonna go a little ways down it. Because to put it on a map, I guess maybe you just don't want people to stumble into an undeveloped part of the park if they're just here on a bus tour or something. But I gotta see what's down there. Come on. Come on, I can pass that. And from here, I can totally get back to light. From here, I'm safe. If it starts getting dark, 'tis no problem. I got a light on my phone. I'm in the park proper. I can get out of here and back down to the visitor center and use a bidet on my butt. All right, so there's a sign here that my Google Translate says imposing through. So, I guess that's what that means, is like, this is not an easy path. So let's just go a little further and see what happens. And while I go through this dangerous jungle path, let me continue talking about dumb, boring crap that I bought. So while I was at Hard Off, just ducked under a fallen tree. Oh yeah, and I see on the side here, the path is giving away a bit, but it's not steep, so it's okay. Yeah, since I was just buying this one little cord at Hard Off, it's $3, 300 yen. I thought, I don't know, if I'm going to go through the rigmarole of having somebody ring this up and give me a receipt and everything, I just feel like I should buy something else. This is just such a tiny little silly thing. This little cord for my electric razor that didn't even work. But I was looking all around, and that is the thing with traveling. What I like about it, I like the minimalism of it. I like how it simplifies your life. Yeah, this path is fine. This is not a problem at all so far. I like having everything in its right place. Everything's so simple. I think before the digital internet age, this would be a harder life to live. Because even just carrying around some novels or something, or notebooks, would add a lot of weight. Now, just you got a computer, you got a phone, you got everything. You probably don't even need the computer. I just need it because I do, video and audio editing stuff. Although even that you can do on a phone these days. So maybe you only need a phone. But anyway, it just solves the problem of I could still play video games, I could still watch movies, I could still read comics, I could still listen to music without physical devices. So it's not that hard to live out of one book bag. But it really is full. There's just really no wiggle room in there. If I have any space to fill, I'm going to fill it with socks, because I still feel like I'm a couple of pairs socks lighter than I should be. Oh, there's kind of an interesting phenomenon. Maybe it actually gets darker even sooner around here, because I'm on a bit of a mountain ridge, and then way in the distance is a way higher mountain ridge, and it's got that glow look of like the sun is going down over there. So yeah, maybe the mountains make it darker even sooner. I might have less time than I think. So yeah, there's probably no need to walk excessively on this path, but yeah, this is absolutely fine. It's a totally fine path. It's just, oh yeah, it's even got these little red markers, but it's just clearly not, no need to send tourists down this way, because maybe there's just nothing here. I don't know. Yeah, and I guess the way the other paths had little steps built into them and stuff, this one does not. There's only one thing marked on the map anywhere near me. It's got the little green symbol that means it's like a woodsy thing, but the words are in Japanese. There's no English translation. So I don't know what that is. And it looks like if I just kept on going, wow, it really goes a long way. It eventually connects to a highway that then connects to the Tokyo Itsukaishi Country Club, which is about halfway to that Summerland place. So yeah, again, I think if I had sunlight on my side, okay, and at this point, oh, look at that shit. Yeah, okay, this is an amazing sign that I should turn around. This started happening to me in Fukuoka as well. You hit a point where these paths just become very indistinct, and it's like, am I supposed to go down this way? Maybe. You could talk yourself into it, but probably not. Then I look to the left and it's like, oh, I see, there's another little side thing that I missed, and a little walking bridge that then you could scramble up a steep hill that again would normally have steps. All the other ones would have steps. This one has no steps. But also this walking bridge, it is in disrepair. It does look like it's from Uncharted 2. And if I try to walk on that, it's going to break. And it's only going across a little, I assume it's because there must be water that runs through here sometimes. It's like 2.5 feet above the ground. It's not a big deal. If it broke, I'd be fine. But that thing is like, it looks like it's 100 years old. So, okay, I'm turning back. That was interesting though. The super rustic paths. Man, this is a fucking awesome park, dude. Komine Park. This is excellent. There's so many options here. You can just go to the main park and see some shrines and get a coffee and take a piss. Or you can go super rustic, which wherever the fuck this is where I am, and then medium rustic where everything is much better laid out and maintained, but you can go all over the place to waterfalls and such. Man, this really worked out today. This is good shit. So anyway, back to Hard Off. So I was walking around Hard Off. Oh, and that's the other thing. I had to break 100 as well. It's the only bill that I had because I've just been paying for everything at convenience stores with my Suica card, with my little Subway card. So I can't break 100 for a $3 cord. I have to find something to buy. But what can I possibly buy that isn't literal garbage, There's all kinds of things that I would technically like. There's like old video game systems, or even just old video games, or even just weird stuff like, oh, look at these Japanese magic cards and stuff. But for me, all that stuff is literal junk. It is just weight that I would just want to get rid of. So why would I can't buy it. I just can't. I was like, maybe they have a t-shirt or something. I could justify buying a t-shirt, but they didn't really have any of those. I wonder, I know there are others. Mostly I see the book offs. I've seen some hard offs. I think there is other stuff in the chain, so maybe there's a clothing one. I don't know what that's called, clothes off. This is so dumb. I'm like walking through a beautiful Japanese forest, and this is like there's vines on the trees, and it's all super rustic, and like this is fucking cool. And I'm just making clothes off jokes and talking about shit that I bought. It's so dumb. There's so many potential titles for this podcast. Fucking dumb North American guy walks around and is dumb would be a good one. But what I finally hit on is like, oh, headphones. I could use headphones. Because a pair of my headphones shorted out the other day, and I'm still keeping them because it's an interesting idea when you're in a busy part of the city to wear headphones that one side doesn't work, because you get to listen to a podcast in one ear, still be aware of your surroundings with the other ear, but it's still, the earbud is still in my ear, like a little pseudo earplug to help with the noise of the city. It hasn't been very relevant once I got out here into the edges, but I think that's a neat idea, so I kept it. But I brought 3 backup pairs of headphones with me because, they're very small. Just put them all in one package, tucked them away. But I was like, I could get away with that. I could buy some headphones. That's always useful. All right, I'm out of the woods, back to the main area. Apparently this Sakura Ridge is not along the edge of the park. You have to go into the center a little bit, which kind of goes against my natural inclination. I assumed the edges would be the highest up, coolest parts. But the Sakura Ridge is the one that all the signs talk about. It must be something, so I'm going to try to maneuver my way to it. But yeah, I thought I'd buy some headphones, and I don't go super expensive with headphones, but I always buy Sony headphones. Like, you can buy the Sony headphones that are $12, $15, the little earbuds, and they're fine. They're pretty good quality. You can do audio editing with no problems. If you go cheaper than that, it just sounds like shit. It's just not worth it. And if you go more expensive, I mean, it is worth it, but, my dad for Christmas one year bought me like $100 pair of super duper headphones, and they were great. I was hearing things in songs I'd never heard before. I was like, these are awesome. But it made me scared to use them because they were so expensive, and they were still just earbuds. It's like, what if these short out? It was $100. I felt, nervous about using them. It's where it must have been annoying to have me as a kid. It's like, I bought you some nice headphones, just enjoy them, kid. And it's like, yeah, but what if they're too expensive, I feel uncomfortable. Sorry, spirit of my dad. But I do get Sony because Sony's just a good brand. You just know it's going to be good. Even if you buy headphones that are $15 or $20, but they're just some random brand, they might just be shit. So I was looking through whatever headphone stuff they had at this Hard Off, and that was generally the problem, is they were just weird brands I'd never heard of, or they were mega expensive. And they did have, here we go, left to right, left to the Sakura Ridge. All right, let's do it. They did have some of those like wireless earbuds, like the Bluetooth ones. And I did have some of those that my cousin gave me for Christmas, and it was kind of cool, I kind of didn't mind having them because the wirelessness was nice. That's why he got them for me, because I'm always kneeling down and getting a wire caught under my knee, and then when I stand up, I yank the headphones out of my fucking ears, and it's just annoying as fuck. And they lasted for a couple of years, and they were pretty cool. But you can't do audio editing with them because there's latency. If you hook them up to your laptop, even just a teeny bit of delay just makes editing audio and video a goddamn nightmare. So they're only good for just listening to shit as you walk around. And the earbuddiness of them just being these 2 little things was tricky because if you drop one, it's the end of the fucking world. It's awful. I dropped one in a park once in the middle of winter, and it took forever to find it. And then in the summer once, I dropped one down the gravel in a rock quarry, and it took so long to find the thing. But I finally did. I couldn't believe it. So I kept them until the battery just died and they didn't work anymore. And I mean, they're pretty cool. You put them in a little capsule and they charge themselves. So they had a bunch of those. And I was like, I guess I could buy some of these, but they're like $35 or $40, and I don't even really want them because the benefits and the annoyances are kind of 50-50 with these things. But then I saw the Sony name, and here's, not only is this fucking boring, pointless story taking me forever to get to, but now I'm going to hit you with information that is probably like at least a decade old. Who knows how long these things have been around. I'm sure everyone on earth knows about these, but I'd never heard of them before. It was some Sony headphones for $20 that were just the 2 headphones and a wire between them and just a little capsule thing, with the power on, power off, volume up, volume down. I didn't even understand what I was looking at. It's like, well, how do you plug them in? What is this? Is this like missing a piece? So I sneakily opened the little, I just had it, in a little see-through bag or whatever, but I think you're probably not supposed to open shit, but I opened it just to look at it. And it's like, okay, here's a tiny little, you open up this little tiny part and there's a little USB hole So it's like, oh, okay, so that's how you would plug it in to charge it. So these must be Bluetooth headphones that are wired together. And I was like, this is fucking incredible. Again, these probably have existed for a long time. I'm sure everyone's aware of these, but that's like a product I would have designed myself. Like when Homer fucking designed that car, like that I would think is just some dumb thing that only I would want. Like who would ever want your two Bluetooth headphones wired together? Well, I fucking would, because then you can just take one out and the other one is still in your ear and they just kind of dangle. This is fucking genius. So I bought it for 20 bucks. And I looked these up later and they can be anywhere from $40 to $200, so who knows. But I mean, again, Sony, I trust Sony. Sony stuff's always pretty good. And it was only $20. And when I got it home, it took me a little while because I don't have a lot of experience with Bluetooth, and my general experiences with it is either it works and it's fucking magical, or it doesn't work and then who knows what you do. So I had to look up some stuff because I could not figure out how to make, the Bluetooth pair and yada yada. But I eventually got it going. And it's so magical. I still have wired headphones because I need them for this recorder. But just for my little phone that I just listen to podcasts and crap on as I wander around, I got the little Bluetooth thing connected to them. I charged them up. And yeah, it's just so cool. It's just like you put the thing in one ear, the earbud, and then the other bit hangs around the back of your neck and the other earbud goes in. And then it's just got a volume up, volume down, power on, power off. Just power it on, it connects to my phone. It's so perfect. It's so great. And now I've got something I can go in every hard off I happen to see and see if they got more of these. They're so small too, it's so little. I'll buy as many of these as I can find, dude. It's so good. Even just, was that just yesterday? Yeah, Spider Mountain Day. Before I went to the hard off, I had my phone awkwardly in my pocket so that the wire, for the headphones could come out, but I didn't have my jacket pocket zippered up all the way. And as I went to get into a subway, the thing fell out of my pocket and I snatched it up and got in the train in time. But I was thinking like, shit, that almost fell right down onto the tracks. And I think that would have been the fucking end of that phone if that happened. Now I can just have the smartphone tucked away in the little day bag that I bought on Oyama Road. And it couldn't be more perfect. I can't believe how well it turned out. I was like, I don't even quite know what this thing is. I have no idea if it works. Whatever. Again, I'm breaking 100. It's $20. Let's try it. And it's like the perfect thing. It's exactly what I want. And I didn't even know it existed. It's just like, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. And on top of, just the fact that it's like a special treat whenever I'm even able to buy anything at all. Like, it's so hard to justify buying anything. It's mega perfect. Also, this bag I bought on Oyama Road is really good. Normally, it's like a leather bag, where normally, I'm not a vegetarian, I'm not an animal rights guy, but I definitely lean that way. I'm a very hypocritical, I guess, animal fan, where I do eat animals, and apparently I buy animal products because I bought this bag. But it's one of those things that I very much acknowledge that we should be moving away from that. Like if aliens came down tomorrow and said, hey, assholes, no more of this shit, no more eating animals, no more animal products, I would not argue even remotely. It would be fine. I find like Middle Eastern food especially, oh God, it's so good. Like the vegetable parts are the best part. I get veggie plates all the time. It's just like, oh, okay, good. Like that's proof positive. I could easily eat veggies for the rest of my life. It'd be no problem. So in this case, I just wanted to buy a bag from that store that I was nostalgic about. I still have the old bag I bought from them. And my JanSport book bag I've had at least 10 years, probably more like 12. So at least there's that, I did buy this leather bag, and I can just tell like I've never had a leather bag before because it really is nice. It's this soft leather. It's such good quality. It's perfect in the rain. It's a little smaller than the one I had before. It was a little tricky to get an umbrella in here, but I got it all figured out. And the thing that makes me feel a little better about it is I'm going to hold on to this as long as I can. I hold on to everything as long as I can. The recorder I had before this one I'm using now, I got it in 2008, and I only got rid of it this year of 2023 because it broke. I kept it so long. I needed weird USB cords to connect it to my computer that they don't really make anymore. I'm gonna keep that book bag until both the straps have broken. I found ways to fix them. I've still got my other Oyama Road bag, and now I got this one, and it seems pretty good. It seems high quality, and I'm gonna keep it as long as I can. So that's the upside to it, is I feel like, I shouldn't have bought a leather bag, but I'm gonna keep this thing forever. I'm gonna keep it as long as a person can keep a thing. Which is another nice thing about having all your stuff just together, just the one bag life. Is there's some stuff I still sort of cheap out on that I probably shouldn't. I still buy, these jeans were $15. I got these shoes used for like $20. I should probably be buying better stuff all around because I have so little that it just would make more sense to just buy really good stuff so it'll last longer. But then, I don't know, like the pair of jeans I bought in Amsterdam that were €100, they didn't last much longer. Shoes though, next time I have to replace shoes, now that I've started to have to wear weird little toe spacers to keep my big toes from pointing inward, to keep bunions from developing, there are certain shoe brands that have much wider toe spaces. These shoes are pretty good. The toe space is pretty wide, but I think I'm gonna have to buy whatever the brands are. I'm gonna go look them up. Gorilla Feet, whatever the fuck, shoes with as much toe room as possible. Anyway, I think it's clear that I'm rambling at this point. Sakura Ridge was okay. It wasn't the best thing I saw today. This is all right. The observatory view was really good. And yeah, it's a little bit past 4. So now my options are, I could just go back to the subway and subway it on home. Hello. Hey, that guy walking his dog completely acknowledged me. He acknowledged me like I was Roman Reigns. So I apologize to those two guys that I was criticizing from before. It was weird that you pretended you didn't see me, but it's clearly not a complete Japanese trait. And again, like I said, like it happened to me on the mountains in Fukuoka also. Is this some kind of mountain etiquette that I don't get? Is there some thing about that? Is there some reason? I don't know. Maybe I'm being too presumptuous about things. But yeah, the other option is this highway that leads to Ajiro Castle ruins. No, I better not. It's a long walk. Oh, there's a park on this side of it. I'm just so curious. I wonder. It looks like a highway on the map, but these maps are always, it's a little hard to determine exactly what it's really going to be like when I get down there. If it is like walking along the edge of a highway where people aren't supposed to be and it's just kind of miserable, clearly don't want to do that. But if it's kind of a more normal walking path that's, normally lit and stuff, maybe, and then it would spit me out somewhat near the next subway station over. It's certainly not the best plan in the world, but I can go scope it out at least. As I'm walking toward the subway station, I can take a gander and kind of see what there is. But again, I just feel like my plans are just being a little bit scuttled by the darkness. 'Twas no problem in Tokyo proper, but when you're out on the edge and everything is less developed, darkness is not your friend. It is the end of your adventure. Oh, that's weird. So the sign is like Sakura Ridge and Teiyaki Zelkova Adventure Square. Is that where I just came from? I came from Adventure Square? Okay, if you say so. And then there's a bunch of scarecrows down here. Anyway, I guess we'll see. If anything, again, as usual, if anything else cool happens, I'll hop back in. Otherwise, I guess this is the end of today's adventure. My dual adventure of going up into the mountains and finding a bunch of cool paths, the nature side, and I bought a cord and some headphones. Oh yeah, the one last thing I wanted to mention. Who cares? It's just that the jingle in Hard Off. I remember mentioning like 7-Eleven used to play very annoying music all the time, and it seems like they've cut back. Hard Off just plays this one stupid jingle and then an announcement, and then the same stupid jingle and an announcement, and the same stupid jingle, and it's super loud. And in the 40 minutes I was in there, I must have heard it 100 times. And that's just like, it's cruel behavior for the customers, but imagine the people who work there every day, day after day. And it was like this jazzy, really loud too. Ba-da-ba-ba. Not cool music, not remotely pleasant. And the store is filled with literally hundreds of compact discs. I saw Rancid, Let's Go. Even if, you could even pitch it that way. You could just play the CDs that are in your store. And if somebody asks, like, hey, what's this? You could say, it's Rancid's fucking seminal album, Let's Go. You can have it for 300 yen. Shall I ring it up for you? And then you could listen to something else. Like, who is the jingle for? That must be some weird corporate head of the fucking business who decided we got to play the jingle all day, every day, over and over and over and over. Some guy who never had to spend his days in that store, because that is fucking weird. No one likes it. No customer likes it. It must be making the fucking staff lose their minds. What the fuck is that? It was a miserable song, and it just wouldn't stop. It just played over and over. Okay. That's my last Hard Off story. Holy fuck balls. Oh! This is not how I expected this episode to end after all the nature stuff. This is gonna be loud when cars go by, but oh hey, spiderweb. Fuck me. Echo! Whoa! Whoa! Oh my god, that sound when cars go by is like a fucking nightmare. It's so scary. But what sounds good with echo? What sounds good with reverb? Yo, in Slum National, underground thunder pounds as I stomp the ground. Like a million elephants or silverback orangutan, you can't stop a train. Who wants some? Don't come, I'm prepared, I'll be there. But when I leave there, better be a household name. Weatherman telling us it ain't gonna rain. Oh, fuck. I was like, how long is this tunnel? This is insane. I just saw a sign. I've come 320 meters and I have 910 meters to go. I thought this was gonna be just a little tiny tunnel. It's so fucking big. Fuck me. Where was I in my hip hop journey? Who wants some? Don't come unprepared, I'll be there. But when I leave there, you better be a household name. Weatherman telling us it ain't gonna rain. Now I'm sitting in a drop top soaking wet, in a silk suit trying not to sweat, hitting some assaults without the net. But this'll be the year that you won't forget. 1999, another minute, anything goes. Be what you wanna be as long as you know consequences. A give in for living the fences. Too high to jump in jail, too low to dig, you might just touch hell. Hot, get alive now they on sale, then I might cast you a spell. Look at what came in the mail, up a scale and some Arm & Hammer. Soul Gold Grill and a baby mama, black Cadillac and a pack of Pampers, stack of questions with no answers, cure for cancer, cure for AIDS, make a nigga wanna stay on tour for days. Dude, oh Jesus Christ, this car is scaring the fuck out of me. Fuck. And they looked at me as they went by like, why are you in here, idiot? Get back home, things are wrong. Walking through the tunnel and I'm all alone. Before your left adds up to a ball of power. Thoughts at 1,000 miles per hour. Hello ghetto, let your brain breathe. Believe there's only more. Ow! Why don't pull the thing out unless you plan to bang. Bombs over perfect day. Oh, 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 yeah. So let me tell you what happened here. Is I left Komine Park and I was walking back toward the train station and I saw this long, nondescript highway leading to the castle ruins. I'm walking past an emergency telephone, presumably in case the chuds attack me. Oh, and now it's curving downwards. I can really see the distance. Shit, I don't even think I'm halfway yet. But yeah, it was weird on the map because it's like, why is there just nothing there? It sort of made it seem like there was a park near here, possibly, but there's just mysteriously no landmarks. Oh man, the way the lights bounce off the walls, also very frightening. Okay, I'm halfway. 720 meters to go back, only 510 to get to the other end. But yeah, it was still relatively light out. The little slightly after 4 o'clock jingle played. The 4:20-ish, 30-ish jingle. Right now it's 4:43, so I wonder when I get to the other side, is it going to be dark out? But the street just looked so inviting. It wasn't that busy, it wasn't that much traffic, and it's just this nice big sidewalks and nice trees on either side, and it just looked so nice. And I was like, fuck it, I'm walking down that way. Let's just see what happens. And then I saw this tunnel, and the tunnel looked nice. Ah, what a nice tunnel going into the mountain. Cool. That was weird. Something extra loud was coming, so I thought it was going to be a big truck, but it was actually just 2 small motorcycles. Here comes another one. And yeah, I guess that makes sense because motorcycles make a lot more noise than cars. But also, just as they arrived, I got to this one little part of the tunnel where the lights got dimmer. It feels like I'm in a 1980s apocalypse movie or something. What the fucking fuck? I think I can see the end now, though. But yeah, even this tunnel, it just looked like, wow, what a nice tunnel. It's very aesthetically pretty and pleasing. And I thought maybe it would just go in and turn a quick corner. But it turns out that's what all of this blankness was on the map. That's why there's nothing there. It's because this is just a fucking mountain, man. And it was like 1,000 meters to get through this thing. Is that not... Maybe this is just one of those things you hear on the playground. Yeah, I got 1,020 meters to go back and 210 meters to get out. Yeah, I can see the end now. Is 1,000 meters not a kilometer? I just walked a kilometer through a scary, weird mountain tunnel. That is... my walkway part is huge. That's good. If I was very close to the traffic, this would be so much worse. But I have a lot of space to myself over here. But yeah, there's clearly nobody else who does this. Why the fuck would you? It's loud, it's scary, rattles your brain. But I guess if you want to be alone and sing the hip-hop classics, this is where you fucking do it. Fuck. All right, I'm at the end. I got to take a picture of the exit. This is going on the fucking gram, that's for sure. So yeah, this is not a thing I've ever done before. I've never walked through a big tunnel that goes through a mountain. I wouldn't recommend it. I don't think I'll do it again. Not on purpose anyway. God, even though I'm right at the end, I'm just about to exit. It's just so scary sounding when cars drive up behind you. It's so fucking loud. It sounds like a demon from your fucking nightmares is coming to eat your soul. It's so scary. Jeez. And there, just like that, now I'm out. Holy fuck. One of my little pictures, I had just deleted it because it was blurry, because I like couldn't stop myself from jerking to the side because the sound of the fucking traffic was so fucking loud. Fuck, that was fucked. Now there's steps that go up to the top. Let's go up and take a look from up here. Oh shit. Was there a way? Probably there was a way to go over this mountain. Yeah, there's little paths and stuff, although they're pretty dark now. Again, it's just not enough daylight for any of these plans. But yeah, there's definitely distinct paths, 2 of them up here. You don't have to go through the tunnel. You could have gone over the top. Oh, fuck. Fuck me. Fuck me in the goat ass. Oh, I mean, that was like thrilling in a way. But what the fuck was that? Oh, okay, where am I at now? Where are these stupid fucking castle ruins? Oh, of course, they're up on the mountain. I walked right under them. So I didn't even get to see my precious castle ruins. Who cares? That's fine. Still a bit of light out. And there's a lot of streetlights and shit here. Whew. If I just continue forward, then hang a left, can cross a bridge and head up to Musashi Masuko Station. That's only a couple of stations away from my Airbnb. You know, that's back to the neighborhood, back to civilization. Jesus Christ, dude. What the fuck? I mean, I guess it's just one of those things again. Every local would know all this stuff. But shouldn't there be some indicator before you walk into a tunnel that it's going to be 1 kilometer long? If there was, I didn't fucking see it. Oh, fuck, because I guess in a car, who cares? But to walk it, what is that? Fuck me. All right, well, nothing's going to top that. I'll see you next episode. Thank you for listening. Okay, one last thing. I keep saying the episode's over, but one last thing. It's very much night now. The mountains in the distance are just dark silhouettes. Just a teeny little touch of lightness behind the middle of them. But yeah, it's nighttime now at the ripe old time of fucking 5 o'clock. I noticed something just now on Google Maps, very important, good thing to know, is you can in fact tell when a tunnel is happening because it's brown. So in that case, it did not show that the entire thing was brown, but it was at least an indicator that a tunnel is coming. And there's a whole lot of tunnels around here. I just passed an intersection with 2 different tunnels in 2 different directions. And indeed, on Google Maps, there they are. They're tunnels, they're brown. And I think it'd be easier to see in daytime mode, but I've got my phone set to like night mode, so the map is like dark colored, and then the lines are on it. Probably the same thing when I was in Sengenjaya, and there were these little walking paths through the neighborhoods that I realized were little green dotted lines, but they were quite hard to see. But I bet on a white background they're easy to see. So I guess it's just night mode is, I think I'm gonna stick with it because I just like night mode in general. But it does make some of these details harder to notice. But that's a thing I learned today. Yet another thing in the process of stuff everybody knows. But the reason I'm recording this now and not saving this for tomorrow is because I'm scared right now. I'm walking across this fucking giant, it's so high up. This fucking bridge across the Aki River is so high up. It's way higher than the other ones that also make me uncomfortable. Oh, and I'm walking along the guardrail that's nearer the traffic, so I'm not near the edge. There's a great big, like, 6-foot high divider thing on the side. Like it's not like I'm gonna fall off or something, but every time I glance over, I'm not over the river anymore. It's just, because it's not much of a river really. It's a very small river. It's just down in this valley and there's just houses and stuff down there. But I just feel like it's the weirdest thing when you're scared of heights, that it's so counterproductive that every time I think about it, my legs get rubbery and I stumble a little bit, which is the opposite of what you would want to happen. If you're scared and you lock up, maybe you'd walk stiffer and in a more concise way, not in a stumbly way. That's gonna make you fall and die. Oh, I'm coming to the end of it now. But I was like, oh yeah, tomorrow I should mention that I learned about the brown thing means tunnel. But oh my God, I hate walking across bridges so fucking much. It's so scary. I'm really glad I don't feel this fear when I'm on an airplane. That would be how awful to just be trapped in an airplane and to feel this way. I don't know how I would even travel. It would be terrible. But I feel it on bridges, that's for fucking sure. Oh, fuck. Oh, that felt bad. Okay, I'm back on my side of the river now. I'm 2 subway stops away. I'm just gonna walk home from here. Holy shit. Holy shit. Okay, episode over for real. See you next time.